Hi, I'm Julia Sun for M&A Advisors, and joining me this morning is Mr. Thomas Yagel, the Director of S&P Capital IQ. Welcome.
Welcome.
Yeah,
nice
tell us a little bit about yourself.
So in my role at S&P Capital IQ, I look at a lot of our thought leadership activities, so participating in conferences and other speaking engagements, panels, and so forth. And also I look at credit and how our firm talks about credit to the marketplace.
Credit is a big part of your firm.
Credit's a big part of our firm, a big part of my job, but I also do a lot of work with our activities on the M&A front as well, which sometimes touches the credit space. In terms of energy, I think other people have said that energy activity in terms of M&A has been a little bit lower in 2013 than it was in peak years, but certainly lots of opportunities remain.
So do you see that picking up in the sector?
We'll see. I mean, I think it's driven by a lot by oil and gas pricing and that being able to sustain more drilling, more deals. Where you see opportunities, where we've seen opportunities, where the excitement is right now is North America. It is the shale fields. It is your Yagel, Ford, Marcellus, these big shale plays that have been driving acquisitions in the upstream side of things for the last 5 years or more, which will also continue to drive things downstream as you get drilling in locations where you then have to supply the market. Over the last year, we've seen regulatory changes in Mexico pushing for more growth, and I think that maybe we see some of the shale activities increasing there as well in the future. I'm not sure what will happen at this point.
Is there anything the regulators could do to help the space, to help deals go through?
Well, so I mean, I guess there's some interesting things in the regulatory space. I'll first touch on taxes because one of the interesting things is right now there are tax incentives for investments in solar. So this is so the renewable side of the energy space.
From the U.S. government?
From the U.S. government, 30%, essentially up to 30% cut off the price of your investment when you get that tax break. That's going through end of 2015. So that's a huge opportunity driving growth right now. In a way, that's a cliff. So the cliff is driving hopefully some activity through that point. We'll see after that what happens in terms of renewables and whether there continue to be incentives for growth in that space. We've seen a lot of changes in that area. PV rates going down below $1 a watt, sorry, which is great. So that's on the one side. In terms of regulation on oil and gas, I think that's kind of evolving over time. There's certainly different state-by-state basis. There are different views in terms of whether fracking, sort of the horizontal hydraulic fracturing, is something that can happen in different communities, in different states, in different regions. I think that will continue to evolve as safety concerns play out. More and more localities will weigh in on that.
So you're saying the states are the more dominant regulators in this regard?
Yes, absolutely. For the shale plays, it's a state-by-state basis. So New York right now kind of has been on the fence. Doesn't look like they're going to open up the doors anytime in the immediate future in terms of, like I said, hydraulic fracturing. Other states maybe won't in anywhere ever open things up unless things significantly change. And other states like Pennsylvania and others have been kind of welcoming that opportunity with open arms. And like I said, as safety concerns play out, as more information comes in, I think that environment will continue to change.
Because I feel shale has been such a buzzword. Everybody
uses it. It's
been
a huge buzzword, but you have to see, like in New York State, for example, people bought up all available land 5 years ago, essentially with the idea in mind that there would be fracturing in the state, and that hasn't come to pass, and a lot of that land is being sold back. Maybe people holding on to the mineral rights, but no drilling has occurred, or
because the government didn't approve
because
it?
the state hasn't.
Oh,
the state saying no, we don't want you to drilling in
because
New York.
of what environmental
because
concerns?
Of environmental concerns,
okay.
Exactly, and that's what I'm saying. I think that'll play out in terms of regulation and legislative decisions. In terms of the federal government, in terms of legislation, I don't have any specific thoughts to add to that conversation right now. I think the state governments are the key decision makers, or the people that are driving the states are the key decision makers in terms of where fracking is occurring. And certain states that have a lot of opportunity are are closed off because of environmental concerns. And I think that over the next 5 years or so, the results in the safety reports from other areas like Pennsylvania and so forth that have opened up the doors to fracking, those reports will come in, people will be more comfortable, understand what's going on. If those safety records are there, then I think more opportunities will open up.
Then if the states are being so careful,
Yes.
as you said, then how come the public still has a misperception of this energy drilling?
No, I think it's a lack of information. I think people are naturally cautious about this, their water sources and stuff like that. And I think, like I said, and I think other people have said this, as people safely, as people safely engage in these practices, that safety record will continue, and people will become, more comfortable with the information that they get.
People talk, and people who are
news,
outside
like
of this
right.
field, they
Plus,
talk
and you weigh that with the opportunity, right? So if you say, oh, well, wow, I got like billions of dollars in opportunity in our state, and it's it's safe, then that's that's what you want to see. And so it's not a negative thing at all that the states have concerns about this. I think it helps to drive information and safety and all that. In the 2020s, we could see the U.S. is the largest producer of hydrocarbons in the world. And I mean, if you look back again 5-10 years, it was a little bit more of a depressing story. We're dependent on the Middle East, we're dependent on everybody else. And now it's more of like it's an optimistic type of story where we're going to be energy independent. We're going to be the major producer for energy in the world. So I think that for the U.S. specifically in North America, that's a huge positive. Global growth is driving energy consumption and energy demand, and then that therefore drives the energy prices and the ability to drill. So if you're looking at oil at $80 a barrel versus oil at $90 a barrel, a lot of opportunities open up when you're kind of over that $90 a barrel. I think you can't successfully do a lot of these hydraulic fracturing at $80, $70, $60 a barrel. You need that higher price point to have to compensate for the higher capital investment in drilling.
So overall, are you optimistic or pessimistic about the energy space?
I'm optimistic. I mean, I think, like I said, the story in North America around shale over the last 5 years, the way things have changed, our energy independence, becoming in the not too distant future the preeminent producer of hydrocarbons, is exciting. It's really exciting, and I think we see, like as I said at the beginning of the conversation, we see S&P 500 approaching record levels. The market is growing. These are all good signs for M&A activity.
Okay. Anything else you want to tell us?
That's it.
Okay. Thank you so much.